I'm the executive officer here at the 2nd Precinct. Inspector Hatton, the CO, he's out this week, he's on vacation, and I'll be taking his place for today. Just so everybody knows who's here, I got all my community cops. You guys are all familiar with, I'm sure, Officer Drew Fiorello, who works with the schools, Officer Angela Ferrara, and Officer Jamie Went, who work with the community specifically. Sergeant Lieutenant John Coyle's here right now. He's the platoon commander that's on duty. And who else do I have here today from the Suffolk County Police Department? And Officer Jen Smith was helping out with the crowd, bringing people down, and she's from our community support unit. We do have a special guest speaker today. I have Detective Cliff Lent from the Office of Homeland Security and Terrorism and Criminal Intelligence Bureau. Did I get that right, Cliff? He's going to talk about, we have a new program going on out here in Suffolk County. It's called Operation Shield, correct? Operation Shield, and it's going to be the integration of business and residential security systems along with ours. Cliff, can you just talk about it really quick?
Sure, I'll try to find the best place to stand for you folks. Good morning. Again, my name is Cliff Lent from the Office of Homeland Security and Criminal Intelligence. What the inspector was discussing was a new website, interactive platform called Scpd Shield. It's www.scpdshield.org.com or .net. You can put any of them in there and it'll all pop up. And what it is it's a program that we've taken from the NYPD. They have NYPD Shield and they're franchising that throughout police departments across the country. 8 major police departments, ours is included, have now adopted that program as well. And they originally started it as an anti-terror information sharing platform between the department and public organizations and their security staff and management. So we're going to be doing that as well, and we're adding another component to it which would affect local businesses and private citizens to include crime patterns and trend information that we're allowed to share. Some of the information will be sanitized because it won't affect an investigation. We can't put things out that are going to affect an investigation. But there is some information that we are going to be able to share with the public regarding possible crime trends and patterns that might be important to either an individual or a small business owner. So that's what the site is designed to do. So we invite anybody to visit the site, www.scpdshield.org, and become a member. And there will be different levels of access, perhaps for security personnel is one, because the NYPD will share terrorism information that is sensitive in nature, and it will go out to certain specific either law enforcement partners or security staff. The private individuals are welcome to apply as well, and you'll have another limited but also important access to the site, in particular with those crime trends and patterns. Also, along with that, one of the programs or initiatives that is a part of it is a camera registration program. And there's 2 aspects of it. One is geared towards businesses and private citizens, and one is geared more towards large businesses and facilities. The one that is geared towards individuals is if you have a home security camera or if you have a small business with a security camera, we're inviting anybody to register the location and information about that camera with the police department. What that will help us do is expedite an investigation to say, okay, we know where these working cameras are. An officer is still going to do a canvass. If a crime occurs on 5th Street, we still do a canvass. We go door to door. We look for physical cameras that are visible. And then we knock on doors and we ask to review their video in the event of a crime. This will help expedite that by letting us know where working cameras are, and we can send out electronic requests to individuals either through text or email to a homeowner or small business to request information about a specific crime. Additionally, what this can help us do is if there's a crime again, there's a crime on 5th Street, we do a standard canvass. That might go out 6 to 10 blocks or something like that. But it's limited in its scope because of time constraints and also how far an officer can actually conduct a canvass after a crime. What this will allow us to do is expand that net, and we can send a general request to a half-mile radius, as an example, for information from around that crime. And we might be able to share with you, we're looking for a white SUV between the hours of 1 and 1:30. Can you review your data, and if you have any, please contact us. It doesn't require you to review your data, but it would give you a heads up to say, okay, there might be something important that my camera might have caught, and I might be able to help and facilitate successful investigation of a crime that occurred. So that's one aspect, just a camera registration, and that is going to be available late next week. Excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, so my head is congested. The website was just launched last month, so everything is brand new. This camera registration program is being rolled out as an aspect of that. We expect it to be ready at the end of next week. So you could be able to go on, click on a registration link, put in your information, totally voluntary, and we will have your camera registered for your home or your small business. The next part would be something that we hope to launch by January, and that is going to be remote camera access with the police department. That would be more pertinent for anybody that's involved in security for larger companies or facilities. And what that allows us to do is most cameras now are what they call IP-based, meaning that they communicate or can transmit information over the internet. If we have a company that agrees to cooperate with us, they can share their information of their cameras with us, and in an event of an emergency, we can access those cameras. For instance, it would be like in a large school, a hospital, a large business facility such as Canon or something like that. Then if there's an active shooter incident, if there's an unexpected explosion, an emergency of any kind, it could be a plane crash, any kind of emergency situation, under those protocols we could turn on our ability to view those cameras so that we could send our officers to the right locations or give them the most timely updates as to what's happening in a large facility, school, hospital, house of worship, etc. So in a nutshell, that's what the program is going to be doing. We hope to have it be an interactive website where information comes in and we push information out. We are always pushing the see something, say something mantra or attitude. We find that in past crimes and looking back at things, whether it's a school incident or a terror incident, that people know things, but they're still hesitant to come forward or don't know how to come forward with that information. So this is just another example of a site that people can feel comfortable or another avenue to report things to the police department if there's something suspicious that they see or something that they need to report.
Cliff, could you just talk a little bit about type of cameras maybe someone should buy and camera placement?
Well, I'm not a...
I know you're not the expert in
no,
that.
that's okay. Just to preface, I'm not a tech guy or even a camera person, but just from a basic law enforcement perspective, cameras are constantly changing, and they are decreasing in cost, fortunately, and they are getting better in their resolution and in their ability to transmit information. So if you have an antiquated system, consider starting to, put aside some monies for, and budget the ability to upgrade to one of these newer cameras. The cameras today, you can set it up so that a motion sensor will send a picture to your phone, to your iPad, your computer at work, so you can see exactly who stepped into your kitchen, who stepped into your driveway, and those types of cameras are going to be the best operable, they're going to have the highest resolution, they're going to have the best ability to see at night. Just newer cameras tend to be better. You can do any kind of, I recommend that before you buy any cameras, if you're considering doing it, just do some basic reading, about reviews on these camera systems, and everything is online today. So you can get a real good sense of what camera is going to have good resolution, good night visibility, and the ability to transmit those images to electronic devices. As far as placement, you want to have good lighting. Even if you have a night-capable camera, to have a motion-activated light in conjunction with your camera is important because it'll give you a better picture. And instead of just having a grainy picture of a person, now we can see if it's a male or a female or other details about a vehicle or a person if you have that light in conjunction with the camera. Also, you want to think about these are things that the environmentals, things that you need to consider. How does the setting sun blind the camera? Do I need to consider where I put my camera because of the sunrise or the sunset? Does the fall foliage change with the spring foliage? Just natural things that might occur that would change the visibility for your cameras. You want to consider those things. Does that touch on some of the things that you were looking for, sir? Are there any questions about the Scpd Shield program or the camera registration? Yes, ma'am.
Is it, you were saying about like remoting into big businesses, is that something the NYPD does with the same program? Or
Yes, it is.
Okay,
We stole it from them pretty much.
awesome.
We're on record with that as well.
They're happy to share, and we're very excited about the ability, because once all the other departments tie into this, the ability to share terror threats, terror warnings is just going to really explode. And we're happy about that. And the ability to see cameras inside of a large facility is very important. There's strict protocols. We can't just turn on the camera and see, at our whim. It would have to be an emergency situation that a standing agreement would abide by, and it would be activated only in the case of an emergency. Yes, sir.
The Huntington Station bid operates about 50-some-odd cameras up and down New York Avenue, West Hills Road, and Depot Road. And I have personally spoken to Brad Rosen, who has put in all of these cameras, has spent bid money to do this, and he has assured me that Suffolk County PD is more than welcome to have access to all the IP addresses.
Okay. I'm personally not familiar with the what cameras the county currently has registered.
We're currently trying to integrate all the cameras within the town, whether it's the Huntington big cameras, cameras up at Gateway Gardens or Millennium Hills, and the town cameras up in the village. We're currently trying to integrate all the cameras, and once we do, we'll certainly try and get it into the system.
Yeah, if you speak to Brad Rosen, he'll gladly give you the information.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Might there be any sort of availability for grants trickling down either from federal or state or county governments that could afford more cameras in more places that we as a community could advocate for?
I'm sure that there's always the possibility of that. I'm not.
I can speak.
Yep.
We're currently trying to get more cameras. This precinct, I'm very familiar with 3 precincts. The bulk of my career has been spent in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd precincts. Compared to those precincts, this precinct has the most cameras. And from what I understand, we have the most cameras comparable to the out east precincts as well. The majority of the cameras obviously in Huntington Station and Huntington Village, but we are in the process of trying to get more cameras, and it's come up in past meetings throughout this month, and it's a hot topic. We're also in the process of trying to get the license plate readers too. So we're going to try and get our fair share of everything, sir.
I know the county is renewing a contract for ShotSpotter.
Okay.
ShotSpotter does have a program where they can integrate their cameras, because you have to use their cameras, in with the ShotSpotter system. Is there any possibility you can convince the legislature to spend the money on additional cameras using ShotSpotter?
We could try it. It's a little bit out of my realm, Matt, but we could definitely try. That's something I could carry forth. Jim?
Yeah, I know Marcelino, since he won last night. One of the things, Marcelino, one of the things that was spoken to them about was about $1 million grant from Brentwood, and they're going to try to apply for it as soon as Sessions back in.
For our town?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're supposed to apply for the same thing, that's what I was told.
And I think once, if I may, inevitably, I believe that there's going to be successful resolution of some investigations related to those license plate readers and cameras. And the more instances of success that we're able to document, the easier it will be to apply for those grants.
Anybody else have any questions for Detective Lang? Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just so you guys know, we're back out probably in February, March, and do a little active shooter presentation here. I'm just kind of notifying you now about that. So tough week again in law enforcement. Last week, it seems every time I do the community meeting, we've had a tough week in law enforcement. As you probably know, other than the election, the big election that happened yesterday, another thing that happened in the news is 2 officers were ambushed in Iowa last week and unfortunately perished. And one of our own, a Huntington town resident, Sergeant Paul Tozzolo of the NYPD, lived right around the block. Not that it mattered, but on Friday, he was trying to help out a family who had been held hostage by a deranged man, confronted the man, and he paid the ultimate price. On Saturday, there was a prayer vigil up in the village in front of the Paramount from 4:30 to 5:30. I believe the Chamber of Commerce the Huntington Town Chamber of Commerce put it together. They did a great job. There was a lot of familiar faces here I saw there. All the politicians came and spoke. And the one thought that I just want to echo is Sergeant Ed Mullins of the NYPD Sergeants Benevolent Association. One of the things that he had said in remembrance of Sergeant DeZolos was that he was very pleased to speak to a community that obviously supported law enforcement. And he inferred that there are some communities in this country that don't. And I just want to echo what Sergeant Mullins said to that crowd, that it's a pleasure to work here in Huntington, because I know ultimately we have your support. I know you guys hold us to a high standard, which is fine, but I know ultimately we have your support. So I just wanted to start on that. So thank you, everybody, for your support. And everybody that came to the prayer vigil, the off-duty NYPD guys there, the volunteer firemen, anybody, the first responder that was there, they certainly thank you for your support. There's been a lot going on in the precinct since the last meeting we had. As you all know, Commissioner Cindy's throwing a lot of resources at the second precinct, and we're really starting to see some results. We did 5 search warrants alone since the last community meeting. I'll just run through them really quick. On October 14th on Stuyvesant Street in Greenlawn, we effected a search warrant. We made 2 arrests at that particular location for minor drug charges on that one, but we've had more success going forward. On October 20th on Lowndes Avenue, we made 1 arrest on felony drug charges. This particular individual, we had gotten word that this guy was selling drugs throughout bars within the town, so that was a really good one for us. On October 27th, you may have heard, we did a search warrant at Francesco's Pizza on Route 110. We made 2 arrests regarding that, the husband and the wife team, and they both got charged with felony drug arrests. On October 28th, we effected a search warrant on Olive Street in Huntington Station. Again, 2 arrests for felony drug charges. And most recently, on November 4th, again, another search warrant on Oakcrest Drive, Huntington Station. 1 subject arrested for felony drugs and felony weapon possession. So we are trying to do as much as we can. Commissioner Cindy has created another narcotics team. Them, along with our special operations team, are throughout the town, and we're combating drugs as much as we can. In addition to that, and I talk about it all the time, we have additional resources in the precinct from time to time from the Highway Patrol Division, whether it's the site team that's writing moving violations or the safety team that's coming here and effecting DV arrests. So we are seeing support from the county here in town. Briefly, we also did an undercover sting reference selling alcohol to younger people throughout the town. We hit 6 places in particular. One Stop Deli on Broadway and Greenlawn, Brothers Deli on Broadway and Greenlawn, Vape Cigar and Beer on Wiltman Road, Chiquito Deli on New York Avenue, a deli on West 18th Street in Huntington, and P&P Deli on West Hills Road. 2 subjects were arrested in regards to this for selling either beer or cigarettes to underage children, and we made two arrests reference those investigations, 1 at P&P Deli and 1 at Vape Cigar and Beer.
Excellent. Thank you.
Just let me get through this. Just let me get through a couple of things and you can ask your questions. Probably the things we want to talk about here. Melissa's Restaurant, obviously. On October 22nd, we had a shoot. Obviously, Melissa's Bar is a hot topic here. We've had a lot of cooperation with New York State, with the town, and the county. It was already a hot topic for us before this event. We already had SLA hearings scheduled on the matter, and we've seen those through. Since this event, we've done 3 targeted SLA checks at that location. And like I said, the town, the government, and the town, the state, and the county have all come through with us. We've had actual SLA investigators with us at that establishment, workman's comp investigators with us at that establishment, the county board of health with us at that establishment, the fire marshal with us at that establishment, and obviously the police department. Last Friday, there was an SLA hearing referenced the establishment. According to the officers that were there, it went well, but this being America, it's a business. They're going to have their opportunity to be heard in court. So we're going forward. We think we have a good case. We're building a case. But like I said, this being America, they have an attorney, and they're doing what they can to fight back. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're trying to address the problems there as much as we can. 10/28, you might have read this. On October 28th, a local dentist touched a female patient where he shouldn't have touched her, okay, in early September, and we arrested him on October 28th for a charge called forcible touching. And this one was also recently, a man was arrested for public lewdness recently on October 28th at the mall. You may have seen that one. The guy had been convicted on 17 prior occasions, and he was doing it again. I personally arrested this guy myself in 2008. I was at the mall, and all I can tell you is the call went out, and the guy actually drove past me. And I arrested the guy. He cops to it right away. He admits that he has a problem, and hopefully the DA will do the right thing with this individual. Also, a couple of things that are going on. We're having some crime issues throughout the precinct, okay? And I always say this, I implore each and every one of you to lock your car at night. Once again, particularly anybody that lives in Dix Hills off of Carl's Path in the neighborhood of Candlewood Middle School, on the overnights, we have issues with people breaking into unlocked cars. Apparently, a new trend in America since the push-button ignitions is people sometimes leave their keys in the car as well. So not only are the cars getting broken into and whatever's valuable in the car is being taken, they're also able to steal the car because the keys are in the car. So anybody in this room, please tell your relatives, tell everybody, because it's not really something that's going on just here in Huntington. It's going on throughout the county. Obviously, it has something to do with the heroin epidemic. Please lock your cars and lock your doors at night, all right? Don't make it so easy for people to break in. Another issue we're having currently, it's an emerging pattern, we're addressing it as I speak, is we found that someone's been breaking into Chinese restaurants in the middle of the night. They're prying the front doors. So since October 22nd, we've had 5 such incidents of this, all right? It's going on throughout the precinct, a couple in Greenlawn, 1 in Centerport, some Melville, top 1 here on Route 25, kind of close to the precinct. So it's going on throughout the precinct, and we're throwing resources that way right now. And that's all I have going on for the precinct right now. Does anybody have any questions? Jim?
Right. First of all, I want to thank you for all you're doing. Has there been any change in the manpower in the precinct?
No. There's a lot of people in the police academy, Jim, and we're just waiting for them to
But
graduate.
do we still have the same amount of men?
I imagine, I think we got one one extra light duty cop came into the precinct, probably since the last time we spoke. That's about it. That's all I'm aware of.
Make sure the level's staying. And since, and God bless that police officer that was gunned down, but I think as a community, we see what's going on around here. I think we should also start keeping an eye on our judges.
Yes.
These people are getting out.
Yes.
This guy should have been in jail. The pervert running around 17 times, and I really think as a community, we better start looking at these judges like we look at them and we look at everybody else. Because these judges are a problem.
That
They're a big
crime
problem.
that guy committed, it's called public lewdness. All right, so there's 2 naked kind of things that you could do. One is exposure, that'd be a male, for lack of a better term, urinating in the corner, you could see it. That's a violation, which is the equivalent of you going through a stop sign. Public lewdness would be that same male turning around and doing something he really shouldn't do with his private parts, so you could see it. Unfortunately, right now, that's only a B misdemeanor in the penal code. So it doesn't have that much criminal weight. So hopefully that gentleman's being directed towards some type of mental counseling or whatnot. He certainly needs it. I don't want to interrupt. I know you want to ask a question, sir. Jim brought up a great point about the officer's death. Just if anyone's interested in attending services for Sergeant Paul Tozzolo, tonight, today and tonight, from 2 to 4:30 and from 9 o'clock to 9:30, he has a wake, and that's at Chapey & Sons Funeral Home at 20 Hicksville Road in Bethpage. And the line of duty funeral is tomorrow at 11 in the morning at St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church on 2 Bayview Avenue in Massapequa. If you've never been to a line of duty police funeral, it's quite the spectacle. That's it. Sir? Right there?
Yeah. I have one question about information that you gave us of that. The husband and wife team at Francesco's, is that the new owners?
I don't
Or
know.
was it?
No, I don't know. And I'm glad you asked about Francesco's too, because I forgot to give some guys credit. Each of the search warrants we did, I buzzed through it really quick. The town is with us. And every time we do a search warrant, the town comes in afterwards, and they address as many code situations as they possibly can.
So that could be why it's shut right now.
I'm unaware of why it's shut right now, June. I can get
Okay.
back to you on that. That may be, correct?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what the neighborhood is.
I know that.
gotta be honest with you, with this heroin epidemic,
It's also
you know,
right around the corner from the school.
frankly, we've seen, okay, sir, frankly, we've seen, it's in every neighborhood, quite frankly. So it's not germane to any one type of neighborhood whatsoever. Anybody else?
Inspector,
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention a point of information to let some of the people that don't know, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that continues to go on between the precinct, the police, the town, The inspector was there, I was there. There was a meeting 2 weeks ago, early Monday morning, where the police commissioner attended, the deputy police commissioner, and they actually spent 2 hours with town officials on a Monday morning, and we know how busy they are. Some of the legislators attended, Steve Stern, Doc Spencer, and it was kind of a discussion as to kind of the things that Jim McGoldrick is harping on, is the town of Huntington getting their fair share of police services. So that was addressed for quite a bit. And then there was a brainstorming as to what we could do moving forward to even get more and be more proactive against some of the issues in the town, particularly concern about gang violence, particularly when you look at what's occurred in Brentwood and the fear of what may occur, some of the gang violence that we've had in Huntington Station. So it was a good meeting. Some good ideas came from it, and I think within the next week or so, very soon, I think the commissioner and the town supervisor are going to publicly address some of the things that were resolved and kind of where we're going. So that's encouraging. On another note, just as a point of information, before I retired in 2011, I was very involved for the last 2 years of my career with the Long Island serial killer case, which 5 years later is still not solved. And I just wanted to inform you that the A&E network has put together a new series which is starting this Saturday at 9 o'clock. So many of you are still interested in that case and unsolved homicides. I don't know if they're going to cover any new ground. I doubt it. I know about it because they asked to interview me and I declined. But it's this Saturday at 9 o'clock on the A&E channel. Thank you.
My apologies, everybody. June, I didn't introduce Dominic Perone, who was the liaison between the town and the police for the town of Huntington, former chief of detectives, Suffolk County Police Department, and former commanding officer of our precinct here, and Joe Rose, who's the director of public safety for the town of Huntington. So my bad on that. Those are those gentlemen out there.
Yay, thank you.
June, you had a question.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to bring up an event coming up that kind of relates to this. It's called, let me just stand up, because I'm not really,
Yeah, come on.
yeah. It's called, I should have printed flyers, sorry guys. It's called Recovery Talks, and it's a community listening forum on addiction and recovery, and it's going to be on Thursday, November 17th from 6:30 to 8:30 at the South Huntington School District main office at 60 Weston Street. And what this is it's an organization called For New York that is it's a charitable volunteer kind of a thing. New York State was awarded a big lump sum of money from the federal government to use for addiction prevention, treatment, and programs. It has not been earmarked yet. So this organization is going from community to community. Right now, they did Northport already. They're going to do Huntington Station on this day to speak to the community about where are the voids in our community as far as treating and the impact on the community overall, which I've been invited to speak, and Deputy Inspector will be there also as a panelist. But they want to hear from anybody in our community who works in that industry of rehabilitation and treatment, and also family members of people struggling with addiction and any kind of addiction, heroin, alcohol, whatever, as well as the individuals that are struggling with it themselves, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and where maybe they feel like, you know, we could benefit as a community from different programs and resources and ideas. So that's that. So if you guys want to make a note of that, yeah, if you want to speak, you have to register online. If you go to our Facebook group, Huntington Matters, either one of them will be continually sharing the flyer for the event. So it has the link on that where you can register. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure, ma'am.
What do you do in a neighborhood when you know you've got a gang?
I just want to make a quick comment. I attended that prayer vigil for Officer Tuzzolo, may he rest in peace. And I just want to say it was very moving to see the force, the weight of Suffolk County, NYPD, law enforcement. It was very moving, to say the least. And I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys do. And, you know, an attack on law enforcement is an attack on us all. That's why I kind of took that personally. And a little biased, I'm from Huntington, the guy lived in Huntington. And I just want to say, if he wasn't there, it was just a moving event. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, there's 2 weeks today, and tomorrow's the funeral, if anybody wants to pay their respects. These things are generally open to the public. Sorry.
Can you just do the sites again for those services?
Sure.
If you don't mind.
You want to, I'll announce them. Do you want me to announce them again, or I'll just hand you the?
You just hand it to me after if you want. It's up to you.
Okay, I'll hand it to you afterwards. If anybody needs to know, we'll talk afterwards. I'll give you the times and the dates. Anybody else? All right, folks, thank you for coming. You know, we're doing everything we can here. You know,
Good job.
Hey, guys, Angela, Jamie.